At Thanksgiving dinner, my sister found out I was worth $12 million. And just like that, the family that barely noticed me decided I owed her everything. Hey everyone, before we get into this, I need a quick favor. If you enjoy stories like this, hit subscribe. It's free, takes a second, and honestly helps the channel more than you think. Alright, let's get into it. I'm using a throwaway for obvious reasons, and I'll be changing a few details. I'm Sarah, 38, and this has been building up for years. You ever grow up in a house where one child is everything, and the other is just kind of there? Not hated, not abused, just overlooked? Yeah, that was me. Things didn't start that way though. Until I was about 8, I was an only child. My parents weren't overly affectionate, but they showed up. Mom helped with homework, Dad would take me fishing sometimes. It wasn't perfect, but it was stable. Then one night, everything changed. My aunt showed up in the middle of the night, told me to pack a bag. My mom was in the hospital. My baby sister Rachel was coming early, and something was wrong. The next few weeks were chaos. Hospital visits, whispered conversations, adults speaking in tones kids aren't supposed to understand but somehow do anyway. When I first saw Rachel, she didn't even look real. Tiny, fragile, surrounded by tubes, and I wasn't allowed near her. That was the beginning of the distance. When she finally came home, our entire house changed. It became this hyper-controlled, sanitized space. My mom was terrified of germs. Everything was cleaned constantly. There was hand sanitizer in every room. And me? If I sneezed once, I was sent away. Straight to my grandma's house or my aunt's. No discussion, no hesitation. At first, I thought it was kind of fun. My grandma baked cookies, my aunt had books I loved, but eventually, you understand. You're not being sent away for fun. You're being removed. I was a risk. And that feeling sticks with you. I tried to be perfect. Straight A's, awards, anything that might get their attention. But nothing worked. Everything was about Rachel. And I mean everything. When I was 12, I practiced for months to play piano in a school talent show. I worked so hard for that moment. The night came, and Rachel had a slight fever. No one showed up for me. Not one person. 2 weeks later, the entire family attended her short, off-key recital like it was a concert at a world stage. That's when something in me shifted. Rachel eventually got healthier, but the dynamic never changed. If anything, it got worse. She learned how to use it. Small headache, she stays home. Doesn't want to do chores, suddenly she's not feeling well. Worried about a test, my mom would literally call the school for extensions. And guess who picked up everything else? Yeah. So I stopped trying to compete. I just disappeared into my own world. Books, studying, antiques, anything quiet, anything mine. My grandma's jewelry collection became my escape. I'd sit for hours organizing it, learning about it, memorizing details. I didn't realize it then, but that was the foundation of everything that came later. High school, I treated it like a launch pad. I joined clubs, worked part-time, pushed myself hard. Because one thing becomes very clear when no one is watching you. You can become whoever you want. I ended up excelling. Debate team, honor society, school newspaper, you name it. I even got a perfect SAT score. Do you know how rare that is? Less than 1%. I ran home to tell my parents. And my mom barely looked up, told me to keep my voice down because Rachel was studying. That moment, that's when I stopped expecting anything from them. I applied to colleges completely on my own. Didn't tell anyone. Wrote my own essays, handled everything. I got into multiple top schools with scholarships, and I hid every single acceptance letter because I knew. If Rachel found out, it would somehow become about her. And I was right. When I finally left for college, my parents didn't come. Rachel had an event. But honestly, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. College was freedom. Real freedom. I worked hard, graduated with honors, and got a job at an auction house dealing with estate jewelry. It wasn't glamorous at first, just cataloging items, sorting things. But one day, I noticed something. A piece everyone thought was fake, but something about it didn't sit right with me. So I researched, studied, stayed late, and I proved it was real. That single moment changed everything. I started getting recognition, more responsibility, better opportunities, and eventually I took a risk. I started my own business. No safety net, no support, just savings, debt, and a tiny office that barely worked. It was terrifying. There were nights I couldn't sleep, wondering if I'd made the biggest mistake of my life, but slowly, it worked. One client turned into another, one discovery led to bigger ones, until suddenly I wasn't struggling anymore. I was succeeding. Really succeeding. I built a company, hired a team, expanded into multiple offices, and somewhere along the way, I became worth millions. And my family? They had no idea. To them, they still worked at some lil shop. Rachel would joke about my job at family dinners, while I was closing deals worth more than her yearly salary. And honestly, I let them believe it. Because for the first time in my life, I didn't need their validation. I had built something on my own. Quietly. Completely. Until Thanksgiving. Someone mentioned my company. Rachel looked it up, and everything changed. Suddenly, I wasn't invisible anymore. I was valuable. And just like that, the same people who ignored me my entire life decided I owed them everything.